From smoky English pubs to sold-out stadiums, Cliff Williams lived the dream every young rocker imagines, but never chased the spotlight. With a bass in hand and a groove locked tight, he became the anchor of ACDC, a band forged in fire, loss, and pure rock fury. Today, we journey through the story of the man who kept ACDC grounded when the world went wild. This is the legend of Cliff Williams, the rhythm, the loyalty, and the legacy. Welcome to Legend Story Vault. In post-war England, a boy named Cliff Williams discovered rock and roll. Born in Romford in 1949, he moved to Hoylake, Merseyside at the age of 12 and was swept up in the local Mersey beat craze. By 13, he was forming his first band, teaching himself bass by ear from records by the Rolling Stones, The Who, The Kinks, and blues legends. Young Cliff left school at 16 to work as an engineer by day and play music by night. These early years sharpened the focus and humility of a musician who would one day anchor the biggest rock band in the world. As a young man, Cliff chased the British rock dream. In London, he played in short-lived groups and even toured Europe in a prog rock band called Home, 1970-74. He later formed the hard rock outfit Bandit in 1974, which included future star Jim Diamond. But by 1977, after Bandit broke up, Cliff nearly walked away from music. Instead, fate stepped in, an invitation to audition for a band half a world away. He saw ACDC on Top of the Pops and thought they were outrageous. After 4 jam sessions, the Australians asked him to join on May 27, 1977, in part because, as Angus Young later joked, they hoped his good looks would bring more women to the shows. Cliff's arrival coincided with a pivotal moment for ACDC. He replaced bassist Mark Evans and immediately hit the road in Australia, supporting their Let There Be rock album. In 1978, Cliff made his studio debut with the band on Powerage, his first of many classics. His bass style fit perfectly, simple, powerful, and locked into the groove. With Cliff on bass, ACDC's rhythm section began to thunder around the world. By 1979's Highway to Hell, the lineup, Angus and Malcolm Young, Phil Rudd on drums, Bon Scott singing, and Cliff on bass, had become rock royalty. Tragedy struck in early 1980 with Bon's untimely death, but the band soldiered on. Incoming singer Brian Johnson delivered an instant hit with Back in Black, 1980, a tribute dedicated to Bon that became the second best-selling album of all time. Cliff's bass powered anthem after anthem, from You Shook Me All Night Long to the cannons blasting For Those About to Rock, 1981, the latter becoming ACDC's first #1 album in the US. Over the following decades, Cliff was the steady heartbeat under ACDC's stereo wall of sound. In interviews, he humbly dismissed showy bass techniques. "There's no better bassist for ACDC than Cliff Williams," one writer noted, "because it's music that many think of as simple, but its execution is another matter." Cliff himself explained, "I just try and do my bit as best I can. It's a little simpler. I try to bring it down to what it needs." In ACDC's guitar-driven songs, he said, his role was merely playing the framework and driving it as part of the rhythm section. And for 40 years, that groove never wavered. Bassist or not, Cliff often sang too, backing vocals on stage and on albums. But he remained quietly in the shadows, content to let Angus's solos and Angus and Brian's lyrics grab the headlines. ACDC fans credit him for one of the band's great constants, unfailing drive. When asked about the band in 2014, Cliff named Powerage and Back in Black as his favorites from the catalog, albums he helped pull off, song by song, tour by tour. Along the way, the band racked up rock and roll honors. In 2003, ACDC, with Cliff aboard, was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, cementing their legacy. But every rock saga meets a storm. By the mid-2010s, ACDC had faced illness and tragedy. Malcolm Young's dementia forced him to retire. Drummer Phil Rudd struggled with legal troubles, and even singer Brian Johnson battled hearing loss. On July 7, 2016, Cliff himself announced it was time to step off the stage. After nearly 4 decades holding down the rhythm, he said ACDC had become a changed animal, and it was my time to hang it up. In heartfelt final performances, his bandmates paid tribute. At a September 2016 show in Philadelphia, Angus Young halted the set mid-song to bring Cliff to center stage for a bow during For Those About to Rock, a salute from the band and a grateful crowd to an unsung hero. Cliff Williams quietly left the stage after that tour. He had suffered a bout of debilitating vertigo on the road, saying later, "For me, I just thought that it was my time." ACDC continued on, but with a noticeably different lineup. In January 2024, reports even suggested Cliff would not join the band's next world tour, noting he had only ever agreed to a few shows beyond recording with the band. Yet rock destiny had another turn in store. In late 2018, Angus Young led the band back into the studio to honor his late brother Malcolm. Brian Johnson and Phil Rudd would return, and ACDC decided to bring Cliff back into the fold for one last mission. In 2020's Power Up, Cliff played bass on all 12 songs, embracing it as a tribute to the Young family. "If Back in Black has Bon Scott all over it, for me Power Up has got Malcolm Young," Cliff said. "This is for him, and it's the band that we played together with for 40-plus years." Despite the intention to tour, the COVID-19 pandemic shut down live music. ACDC's album release in late 2020 became a triumph in isolation. It debuted at #1 worldwide as promised, to Malcolm's memory. Cliff was proud to be part of it, even as he understood touring again was difficult. He later admitted he had only volunteered for a few shows and already had health concerns. Still, destiny called him back one more time. In October 2023, almost 7 years since he last rocked a stage, Cliff Williams strode out at the Power Trip Festival in California. It was ACDC's first live show since 2016, and Cliff's return thrilled fans. He joined Angus and Brian to blast through classics from Back in Black to For Those About to Rock. A media outlet even announced that Cliff had come out of retirement for this event, bringing those trusted bass grooves back to the band's thunder. In December 2024, ACDC stunned fans again, with plans for a spring 2025 North American stadium tour. But headlines noted one change. Now retired Cliff Williams would not be on bass. Instead, a session bassist would carry his parts on stage. As the Los Angeles Times put it, the current ACDC lineup included Chaney, who replaced ACDC's now retired bassist Cliff Williams after their 2023 Power Trip appearance. For the time being, Cliff's road is winding down. Cliff Williams may no longer tour, but his legacy is indelible. His bass lines have thundered through dozens of ACDC songs, and he's been the firm foundation behind some of rock's most iconic choruses for 45 years. In that time, ACDC has sold over 200 million albums worldwide. Fans around the globe still salute that solid beat he provided. Whether it's a stadium of steelworkers singing "You Shook Me All Night Long" or a teenager learning to play "Highway to Hell" on bass, Cliff's influence endures. From Romford to Sydney to arenas worldwide, Cliff's story is one of perseverance, passion, and humility. He never sought the spotlight, yet helped create music that still electrifies audiences today. Thanks for joining us on Legend Story Vault for the story of Cliff Williams and ACDC. If you love rock history and legends, hit like and subscribe and leave a comment below with your favorite Cliff moment or ACDC song. Which ACDC bass line gets your heart racing? Share your thoughts. We read every comment. Stay tuned for more epic stories right here on Legend Story Vault.